The protection of old and vulnerable Australians in aged care remains shambolic, with the majority of residents apparently vaccinated, but as few as 15% of the staff in some facilities fully vaccinated. Sean Rooney is the CEO of Leading Age Services Australia, the national peak body for aged care service providers. Sean Rooney, the government suggested that it's prioritising the aged care workforce. It's talking about pop-up clinics and things in the last few days. What's actually happened? Has anything changed?
Well, look, to be honest, not really. We were told way back in February that aged care residents and aged care workers were Phase 1A, the highest priority for vaccinations. And what we've seen is a program that was supposed to be concluded over 6 weeks, where vaccination teams would visit every aged care home and offer the vaccination to every aged care resident and every staff member. Now, here we are in July. We can thankfully say that all aged care residents have been offered that vaccination, but unfortunately, aged care workers have been left behind and they're frustrated, confused and angry about it.
Are we still basically on the system where they've got to go and find their own vaccination from a GP or a state-run hub?
Very much so. So the channels that have been offered is go to your GP, go to a state-run vaccination clinic. Alternatively, your service provider or employer could try to find a GP to come on site to vaccinate you. And the government also put in place a tender process, which was 53 pages of information pack and a 135-page contract for aged care operators to apply to have their own registered nurses who are accredited to vaccinate staff. And that's clearly inadequate. We said all along we should go back to the original plan, get the vaccination teams to come in on site and vaccinate staff where they operate, where they're employed.
Well, the service providers and the unions have basically got a united front on this of exasperation. If a nursing home wants to go about vaccinating its workforce and making sure it can do that, what are its options as a service provider at the moment?
Well, as you said, the Australian Aged Care Collaboration, that's a group of over 1,000 aged care providers, and the ACTU and the other health unions involved with aged care have said enough's enough. We've called on Minister Hunt and Lieutenant General Fruin to meet with us so we can sit down and design what is the most efficient, effective and safe way to vaccinate all aged care staff. And it really comes back to what was originally promised, and that is those teams coming to vaccinate staff on site, and for those staff that are unwell, have the paid leave for them, and to make sure that we have this communicated and promoted and have aged care workers feel supported here rather than feeling blamed for not being vaccinated.
You talked about a hub and spoke model. How would that work?
Well, what we've suggested to government on numerous occasions, and I'd imagine we'll be talking about this with them next week, is to create hubs in geographic locations from which aged care workers can be vaccinated in 3 ways. From that hub, a spoke would provide a vaccination team to go into each aged care home to vaccinate staff, but also vaccinate volunteers and any resident that is unvaccinated and willing to be vaccinated. The second channel would be for staff in that community, and not just residential care staff, but hopefully also home care staff and disability staff could visit that hub to be vaccinated as well. And then thirdly, for those aged care homes that want to use their own vaccination accredited registered nurses to deliver vaccines to their staff, the hub could provide all the logistical support for the vaccine with regards to its storage and appropriate transport.
Hopefully we'll see some outcomes that are satisfactory next week.
Well, we hope to. I mean, it's a national priority to keep older Australians and the people that they care for safe and free from harm, and part of that is making sure everybody gets access to the vaccine.
Sean Rooney, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks very much.